We're going to initialize some pointers. Don't worry about the code above, that's unnecessary. It's from the previous video where we went over the basic pointer expressions and arithmetic and pointers with arrays. So if you want to learn about that, check the video out in the playlist below the like button. But let's talk about initializing pointers, because that's pretty important. You can't use something unless you declare or initialize it. So let's look at the definition. If we have an int num and it's not set to anything, that's declared. If it is set to something, then that's declared and initialized. But let's just declare it for now. We have an int num, and we want to declare a pointer. So what we can do is always use the asterisk. We're going to say num pointer. That's the name. We're just calling it num pointer. You can declare it here, but let's declare and initialize it to num. Now this is going to give us something kind of funky because num is not initialized yet. Also, we have an error here, and that's because if you hover over it, we cannot initialize a variable of type int with a value of type int. And this is saying we have a pointer here, and we're setting it to an int. We can't do that. We have to set it to the address. To get the address, you need the ampersand symbol. So that's how we would initialize a pointer. That's basically it. Now let us print this out. So let's do a cout, and we're going to print out num initially. Let's see what we get. And you know what? Let's also cout, and we're going to print out our num pointer. This is going to give us the value, and then we'll do a cout, and then we'll just print out num pointer. And we're going to do this without the asterisk. That's going to give us the address. Let's do end lines for all of these so we don't get confused what's printing. And let's run it. Again, some other output is going to come because of all this up here. Don't worry about that. As a matter of fact, let's do a cout, and I'll just have initializing pointers here. So initializing pointers, you can see that it's going to print 1, and then we have the num pointer pointing to this, and then we have an address. You can see it's a huge mess. So let's actually go ahead and initialize it. You can see some issues with that. We're going to print it, or we're going to initialize number to 19, and then again, this is going to point to the address of our number. So right here we should print out a 19, and then right here we should print out a 19 as well, because it's holding the value, or it's getting the value at the address. This is pointing to the value if we have the asterisk here. Now if we just print out num pointer without the asterisk, it means we're just going to print out the address. So you can see we printed out the 19 because we're printing out num. We printed out the value at the address num pointer, and then since we don't have the asterisk on this last one, we're just printing out the address. So that's going to be how we initialize our pointer. Now, you see how I set it equal to this, initializing it to the address number? Well, what about having different data types? So let's go down here, one last thing, and we'll say double, and we're going to call this cost, and we'll set it equal to, like, let's say 40. I'm going to buy something with $40, right? That's their double. We'll even do 40.0 or 40.10. There you go. That's a good one. Inside of here, we're going to want to cast it as an int. We want it to now be an int. So get rid of the 10 cents and just round it to 40. So let's try that. Let's say we have int, and remember we need our asterisk for it to be a pointer. We'll do cost pointer, and we're going to try to set it equal to the ampersand, and we'll do cost. You're going to see that we get an error. If we hover over the error, it's going to say that there is a type issue. Cannot initialize a variable of type int when you have an R value of type double. So we have to cast it as we've done previously, right? And how we've done this previously is, if we comment this out, we set an int, and then we set whatever we want to be on the left, and then we're going to set it equal to, not null, but we want a static cast. This is typically what we've done so far. So we use static underscore cast, and then inside of here we specify the data type that we want it to cast to, which is going to be of type int, and then let us pass in the ampersand and then cost. We'll do that in parentheses. That's important as well. So and cost. Is this going to work? No. If we hover over it, you can see, come on, Replit, that static cast from double to int is not allowed. Oof. So instead of doing a static cast to cast it like this, you're going to not do a static cast. You need to do a reinterpret cast. Two different things. So reinterpret cast should allow us, we also need, because we're not casting as an int, remember that, we are not casting it as a type int, we're casting it as an int pointer, and that should clear our error. Even if we had the static cast, we still have to change it to the reinterpret cast because it wouldn't work even though we have the pointer. So it's trying to fill it out, but it's not going to work. So let's go back to reinterpret cast. That's going to work, and we can see out with all of this here. Let's make a new end line, or another end line, so we can have double spacing. We can see what's up, and then we're going to print cost first, and then I'm going to print cost pointer, and then just regular cost pointer without the asterisk. So what this is going to do is it's going to see out our cost. It's going to print 40.10. Then we're going to print the value that's stored at this address, and you can see it prints out something completely different. And this is because it is not recommended to cast different pointers and addresses. It's confusing. You don't want to do it. So don't do this. This is just a little bonus section showing you that you shouldn't be casting. Do not mix data types. You might want to rethink your program if you have to move values, maybe make an int initially, or just stay with doubles, because again, as you can see, it just gets messy if you're going to do this. We can even do a cout where we print the address of our cost. So let's do the ampersand cost and then end line. And you can see that it's pointing to the same address for the and cost and the cost pointer. These are the exact same, this line and this line, but the values are different, and that's just because, again, you shouldn't cast. So hopefully that you understand why you shouldn't be casting pointers and addresses, and hopefully that helped you initialize pointers. That was the key part of this video. If you have any questions on the material, leave a comment below, and if you want more C++ practice, check out that playlist linked below the like button.